Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve Crowley coming with another video. Today we got some more VGC 17 battles on the battle spot. Still using the Tapu Fini Manabuzz team that I've been using. It's been a pretty good run. Had some interesting battles for sure. So I'll just go ahead get into it. These have been pretty exciting because of Worlds coming up this weekend and Worlds being so close to my house. So it's been fun. It's good to see some things never change, but still seeing some new interesting strategies. So now we can go ahead and get started. My opponent had a team of Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Tapu Lele, Snorlax, Drifblim, and Garchomp. So he had his own Tailwind team. I'm actually really surprised he didn't bring Drifblim. I was like, well, he's probably going to lead Lele Drifblim to get up his own Tailwind. But he also has the Tapu Koko, so he does have the dual terrain options. So that's something to look out for. But as always, Garchomp, they never bring against my team. Mainly because Garchomp doesn't do too much to my team anyways. So I was actually surprised he brought the Snorlax too, since I'm not a Strickrum team. I definitely wanted to bring Kartana here for both of his Tapus and the Snorlax. And then I was debating if I wanted my own Arcanine here. But I was like, I get a little bit more coverage with Garchomp, mainly against Koko and Arcanine, but also for the Z move. So I was like, that could come in handy, especially if he's going to bring that Snorlax. So let's go ahead and get started with this battle here. And like I said, I was actually really surprised when I saw he didn't lead Drifblim Lele just so we could match Tailwinds, because it's not like I could have. In the first place, there's not much my team can do against Drifblim. I guess he was thinking that if he brought Koko and I brought Arcanine, I'd just be able to Wild Charge it. But, I mean, I was really surprised when I saw this lead. But it does make sense, because he can Thunderbolt Wild Charge Mandibuzz if he wants, and possibly prevent the Tailwind from going up. But he also threatens pressure here on my Tapu Fini. So he actually goes for the Helping Hand right off the bat. And I was like, I forgot about the Helping Hand option of Arc. I haven't really seen any support Arcanines. I've seen mostly offensive Arcanines. So I protect with Fini, and we see a Z move here. I was like, oh boy. Most likely going to be the Electric Z move. Deal tons of damage here, especially in the terrain, and the Helping Hand boost. So I was like, hopefully it goes into Fini, because I'd probably take 50% damage with that. But if not, I don't know if Manabuzz is going to have much luck surviving this. And it does go into Mandibuzz. So that's why he led with this instead. And I'm actually going to survive here. So the Misty Seed coming in clutch, big time, allowing Mandibuzz to survive. I was not expecting that whatsoever. So he's going to switch out his Arcanine here into Tapu Lele. I thought that was interesting. Maybe just because I guess this probably was a support Arcanine, so it wouldn't have been able to do much. But I set up a Calm Mind here, because I was just going to go Calm Mind Snarl, and Thunderbolt wouldn't do anything to me. Probably do 40-45%, if that, after the Snarl. So luckily switched in Lele, and I'm like, well, this is perfect. That means I get the special attack drop on both of them, and they're both especially offensive. So we're going to see a Volt switch here, and I was like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. You see it does very little. A Thunderbolt would have done just a little bit more, so it would have been 30-40%. So when I see the Snorlax here, I get really intrigued, since Snorlax doesn't really do anything to my team. So I guess it might be a better option than Garchomp, but so here into his Fini, I go for the Moonblast. I was actually surprised at how little that did, considering I am at +1. It is status, but Lele doesn't have the best defenses. And he goes for Moonblast instead of Psychic, which really surprised me here. And that's going to do very little. But the return also comes in, which is just barely going to keep me alive. So now we have some Mind Games here, because he could protect with his Lele. So I go for the Moonblast. I was like, I'm willing to trade Lele for Fini here, just because I know what he has, and Fini's not going to be that useful against what he has left. So I was like, I can do that trade. And then I just 2 turns in a row of Roost from Mandibuzz. Tailwind is running out, and I want to be able to get it back up, especially since he does have Tapu Koko, and I have Garchomp in the back. So if I can get it up again, that'll help me out significantly. So Koko's going to come back in, and I'm going to bring in Kartana here, because I don't want to bring in Garchomp quite yet, if I'm going to be undersped. But it might have been a better option just to make sure that he would Dazzling Gleam, but he goes for the Volt Switch to break my Focus Sash, and he's going to bring in his Arcanine here, also to get the Intimidate off. So it's going to be good for him, because Sacred Sword is not going to ignore the Intimidate. But I went for Leaf Blade into Tapu Koko because I wanted to bring it into Earthquake KO range, which, I mean, any move would have done it. But, and Snorlax is going to go for a Curse. I'm like, well, that's fine. I do have Sacred Sword, so the defense boost isn't going to matter. But I do have to be careful, because now it is going to be a little bit stronger. So, I go for Sacred Sword, just because I want to get both of these Pokemon in Earthquake KO range, if possible. So I do go for the double target into the Snorlax to get off as much damage, and then, of course, I did forget about the Barrier, I won't lie. If I knew Sacred Sword was going to do that much, I would have just left it right there, brought in Garchomp, and then gone for the Tectonic Rage. But we're going to see Toxic from Arcanine, which is going to suck. It's going to do a lot of damage over time. And then the High Horsepower is going to come in. It is going to connect, so that Kartana is going to go down. I'm not too upset though, but things are a little tricky, because I'm free to go for Earthquake since I have Mandibuzz, but Snorlax is going to be a big problem. So here, I could have gone for a Swords Dance, but I was like, I don't know. He's at +1, he has Return, and I don't know how well I performed with my moves, but I do go for the Tectonic Rage into Arcanine, mostly because I didn't want him to be able to switch out Arcanine and then switch it back in and get off an Intimidate. So I was like, I can guarantee a knockout here or on the Tapu Koko, so it's not like a free switch for him. It'll pick up a knockout. And I go for another Foul Play into Snorlax, just because it's going to be the main way I'm going to be able to get some damage off. And he goes for Recycle right away. So he probably would have went for Toxic into Garchomp. So maybe a better play would have been Foul Play, Tectonic Rage into Snorlax, and that should have been enough to pick up the knockout, or even a Swords Dance. But I feared too much the Intimidate from his Arcanine. I was like, if he has Intimidate off on me, that would have been bad. But if he didn't have Snorlax, then it's not like it would have mattered all that much, because both of his Pokemon would have been weak to Earthquake anyways. So you're going to see how little Earthquake does here to the Snorlax. That is not good whatsoever. So I was thinking he might Protect, so I could have gone for a Swords Dance there. But my opponent pretty much outplayed me. And he goes for the Return into Mandibuzz, which is huge, because now I'm not going to be able to get a Snarl off. And Tailwind's going to peter out. So that was good, because now my opponent now I can't set up Tailwind, and he can go for the Dazzling Gleam and not have to worry about me setting up another Tailwind. So here I kind of played bad at the end. I do get the Earthquake off, but his Snorlax is not going to be taking any damage from it. So I guess now I know why he brought Snorlax. Maybe it's just because I had so many physical attackers on my team, but I didn't really have a good answer to it, except for Kartana, which went down fairly easily to a Volt Switch. So, and he's going to Recycle there. And there's not much left I can do here. You're going to Earthquake is going to do a little bit more since it's single target, but he is going to end up beating me, or he's going to eat up his berry anyways, but he's going to end up beating me. So it was well played with my opponent. If I played that better, maybe the Tectonic Rage Foul Play into Snorlax would have been the better play, because there's like a probably over 90% chance that it doesn't even have Protect, so it couldn't Protect. And even if he did intimidate me with Arcanine, against Tapu Koko and Arcanine, I still would have been able to. I should have been able to win with an Earthquake or two. So I definitely could have played that better at the end. But it's a whole learning process. I don't really see Snorlax as a threat outside of Trick Room. And this kind of showed me that it can be a threat, especially if it get, and that was only one curse. So if I got a Swords Dance up, that definitely would have changed things, because I would have just been doing a little bit more damage to the Snorlax, and I might have been able to pick up the knockout. But I should say I would have been doing quite a bit more, because it would have been a +2 stages. But it was still a good one. It got me to learn. I've been out of it, so it's kind of bringing some things back. But definitely some bad plays there at the end by me. Let's go ahead and move on to the second battle here. My opponent had a team of Tapu Koko, Garchomp, Alolan Ninetales, Arcanine, Celesteela, and Snorlax. So I was actually really surprised that he didn't bring Celesteela, because it does so well against my team. The only thing I have that can deal with it is Arcanine. And Kartana is like alright, but nothing else on my team can really deal good damage to Celesteela, and it walls my Feeny fairly well. So I do have to be careful of the Aurora Veil from the Alolan Ninetales, and then Garchomp will be good here since he does have against his Alolan Ninetales, against Tapu Koko, against Arcanine, even against a Snorlax. Now that I know that a Tectonic Rage is going to do a lot of damage to it, I decided not to bring Kartana. Here it was tough between Arcanine and Kartana. But I was like, I definitely need Arcanine for the Celesteela, and then Garchomp is gonna hit. I don't really, or Kartana would only really be good against Tapu Koko and Ninetales, maybe Garchomp, but my Garchomp hits those for pretty good damage anyways, plus a little bit more, which would be the Arcanine and the Snorlax. So that's why I decided not to bring Kartana. So I don't have the best matchup here, but I at least have some good coverage for everything. I lead Feeny Mandibuzz, and he goes Koko Garchomp. So I'm okay with this lead. I say I'm in a pretty good position. He can't Earthquake without protecting or switching out. And I get my train up. So Mandibuzz is going to be at +1 special defense, so it is going to eat an electric type move very well from this Tapu Koko. And I go for Protect here instead of the Calm Mind. I was like, I don't want to risk like a Poison Jab or anything. But we do see a Dazzling Gleam straight off the bat. So he's trying to get just a little bit of chip damage onto my Feeny. And so we're going to see it as a Life Orb, no Z move, and then we do see the Poison Jab. But he actually goes for the Poison Jab into Mandibuzz, which really surprised me. So must have just been going for a knockout there. Maybe just hoping for the best. And so here I go for the Calm Mind after the Tailwind. Here it's going to be a lot safer. Poison Jab should be doing less than 50% to Feeny, especially since it's not Stab. And I do get a Snarl off. So greatly decrease the amount of damage I'll take from Koko, since I'm at +1 and he's at -1. So we do see the Thunderbolt. From full health, that does 40% or so, 35-40%. So that's really good. And here I'm like, oh boy, you've got to be kidding me, a Z move. And it is going to be the Dragon one, so I was like, okay, well, this is fine. He is physical, so it'd probably be like a Z Outrage. But we are in the Fairy terrain, so the damage of this will be halved. So it goes in the Mandibuzz, and I was actually surprised that it knocked me out, because, like I said, the damage was halved. So that was just powerful, I guess. I don't know if I've ever seen a Z move, or a Z Dragon Garchomp, but it is what it is. I'm okay with it because it allows me to bring in my Garchomp here. But it's kind of a bait, and I bring in my Arcanine just because I want him to go for like or thinking he'd go for Dazzling Gleam, but I can't Earthquake, and I don't want to risk a Z move here, especially since he has the possibility of having Celesteela on the back, but he doesn't switch out or protect or anything. So I get a Moonblast off into Garchomp, so it's going to be a free knockout for me. And then there's not much this Tapu Koko can do, especially if it goes for a Dazzling Gleam, which it does. So it's going to be resisted, and Feeney's going to take that like a champ. So a good turn for me. That last one was just, or the switch in the Garchomp was just kind of and I don't know what to do at this point. But he's going to bring in his own Arcanine here. So at this point, I know I'm like, okay, well, his last Pokemon's definitely got to be Celesteela. And he intimidated my Arcanine, but that's fine. I'm going to bring in my Garchomp here. Just because I could possibly go for an Earthquake Protect and get off a ton of damage, possibly pick up a couple of knockouts. But he actually goes for the double Protect here. So that was a good play. I went for Moonblast here because Arcanine isn't a threat to anything on my team. Even if it has Wild Charge, it's not going to be doing that much to me outside of the terrain. And Tailwind's gone. So I don't think that what's it called? A Dazzling Gleam would knock out Garchomp, especially since he's not at -1 anymore. But I go for Earthquake here. So you might think, why didn't I protect? It's because I was in an awkward spot where I kind of had to think about a few things. But I pretty much just wanted to, I was like, well, he's probably got Celesteela on the back, right? I mean, it does so well against my team. So I don't really need Feeney anymore if I have Garchomp who can just Earthquake anyways. So he actually double targeted my Feeney. So if I protect Earthquake there, that would have been the perfect turn for me. And I see the last Pokemon here is Ninetales. I'm like, oh boy. I probably wouldn't have sacrificed my Feeney like that if I knew he had... I mean, I do have Arcanine, but still, Feeney would be able to wall Ninetales for forever. Especially since I was at +1. So, seeing Ninetales was interesting here, but things are still complicated. Because I was like, was he going to go for Protect? Is he going to go for Aurora Veil? Do I want to let him... what if he does get an Aurora Veil up? But he just ends up going for a double Protect here. Scouting out what I'm going to do. So I did go for the Z move. And I did have... So I considered all possibilities here. If he Aurora Veiled, then that'd be fine. But if he Protected, it would also be fine. Because this is just going to break the potential Focus Sash on the Ninetales. So, and then if he attacked, it still would have been fine because the double target would have, the Flare Blitz would have gone into there. No, I went for the Wild Charge and the Arcanine, but that was just kind of what was going through my head, where it was fine if he protected or if he went for the Aurora Veil. So a good turn for me because now there's no Focus Sash and he just protected both of his Pokemon. So I decided not to protect here. I didn't, because I was like, I don't want to. Well, it probably would have been. I was just like, there's no need to, since I pretty much already got this one in the bag. His Arcanine has already used its berry, and I still have mine. So this one's pretty much over. I go for Flare Blitz on the Ninetales here. It's not really threatening that much damage, but I don't want to risk a freeze. And then I'm going to take some recoil, but I'm going to eat up my berry. So that's going to give me the advantage. I'm going to be at 75%. He's going to be at just below 50%. And this one's pretty much in the bag. I do have to decide what I'm going to do, because if I go for like a Wild Charge and he gets like a crit, or he outspeeds me, and then I take recoil and knock myself out. But I just go for the extreme speed. I'm like, it should be more than enough. And it is. And then Wild Charge the recoil is going to knock him out. So I win the 1v1, which is to be expected. I mean, it's not like I outplayed him or anything, but him already using his berry and being intimidated, not going so well when I have a non-intimidated Arcanine with a berry. So that one was played a little bit better. I feel like I used my Z move correctly, just because there's such a high chance of that Ninetales having the Focus Sash, and I was like, I can pretty much take away all possibilities of it. Because if it went for Blizzard, then that would have been fine. I probably would have picked up the knockout onto his Arcanine, because I went for Wild Charge, And even if that didn't pick up the knockout, I could have just gone for extreme speed the following turn. And 1v1 against his Ninetales. And then if he protected or Aurora Veiled, it probably would have picked up the knockout or at least broken the sash. So that might have been the way for him to win, was instead of go for Blizzard, go for the Aurora Veil. Just so, because then that would mean that, well, maybe not, because then I would have picked up the knockout onto his, well, I don't even know if I would have picked the knockout onto his Ninetales. I don't think so. But I would have, because it would have been it would have been a flare, but maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to, there's so many things that could have gone on, but I feel like I played that one a little bit better than the previous one. Obviously, that one wasn't played very well. But that's pretty much going to be it. A couple good battles, a few things learned. So you guys can hold me to these mistakes. And if I make them again in the future, you can call me a noob. But that's pretty much it. If you guys got any suggestions for me, let me know. If you want to battle me, also go ahead and let me know. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.